We want people to buy our coaching and the whole industry grows. But how can we create high ticket coaching packages that people actually want? There's one thing that we need to understand. The value of our coaching isn't the number of calls that we offer or other things that we do. It's the transformation that our clients experience. And Jonathan, I don't know about you. When I started, I had the same mindset. I always talked about how much time clients are going to spend with me and how much I'm going to support them. Let us know, what has been your experience when you started out?
So my experience when I started out, I come from a marketing back end, right? So I started my marketing agency around 4 to 5 years ago, and I was actually working with plastic surgeons, real estate agents, and I was always providing a service, right? So I always came from a result base because I really understood that my clients at that time were hiring me not just for me to provide a service, right? They were hiring me for their results that I was telling them that I was going to provide. So I understood that really early in my journey. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things that helped me be able to go into just high ticket packages right away and skip the whole phase of charging per hour. Because I understood that one single concept, which is like your clients are going to pay you for the results, not for your time that it takes you to get a result.
Ooh, that's such a unique story because at least from the coaches that I work with and that I know, they often come from a background of just being employees.
Hmm.
So they only think about how much am I making per hour. So I'm interesting. Tell us a little bit more. You're going to talk about how to design high ticket coaching packages. How did you come up with some of the solutions that you're going to share with us?
So the way this actually came about me is funny, right? Because like I was running my marketing agency and I was happy doing it. I was doing it for 4 to 5 years, and then COVID hit. COVID hit at a moment that I was working with plastic surgeons, and I was living life, right? It was just like amazing. I had employees that were just fulfilling the service, and we were at a really really good place at that moment in time. And it wasn't until COVID hit, and guess what happened to all the plastic surgeons? They all had to shut down. So they all told me, Jonathan, like I don't know what's going to happen. I can't do business, so obviously we can't pay you for this amount of time. And I'm just like, wow, like it's just like it took me a while to get to where I was, and now like something out of my control completely like ruined our business. And I wasn't the only one. I mean, so many people went through even worse things. So I'm thankful that I was able to bounce back. But one of the things that I said to at that moment was just like, okay, Jonathan, well, how can we make this like something that is like pandemic proof in some type of sense, right? I was just like, how can I make something pandemic proof? It's just like I thought my thing was pandemic proof because I'm always home, right? Like this is my home office and I'm always working from home. It's just like, but I wasn't because my clients weren't. So I'm just like, okay, well, I need to make a shift. I need to do something that makes the shift or in order to just have more control over like what actually happens. So I made the transition to working with e-commerce brands, and I did that for about a year and a half till recently last year. I really ran a marketing agency, but at that time I was just like, I'm not happy doing this. Like, right, I got to a moment that I'm just like, I became like another employee in some type of sense, but not to one boss, but to many bosses. Because when you provide a service to a company, they're hiring you for the result. So therefore, like technically, like they're your boss in some type of sense. So I'm just like, that's so frustrating to me. I remember it was Thanksgiving of, I think it was 2020, that I was literally sitting down on with having my Thanksgiving dinner. Obviously, here in the States, we do Thanksgiving, and then it wasn't until like one of our international clients was just like, "Hey, Jonathan, like we need this done now." And I'm literally in the middle of my Thanksgiving dinner, and that was like my breaking point. I'm just like, you know what? Like I need to be able to do something else. And at that moment, me and my girl do kind of everything together. Like we're the coaches in the program. She has like a 5,000 or 6,000 followers or subscribers on what I like to call YouTube, right? And people kept asking her, "Hey, Jamerly, do you do coaching? Do you do coaching?" At that time, we didn't do any type of coaching whatsoever. And then I have like 11,000 followers on TikTok as well, and people were in there like, "Hey, Jonathan, can you help me with this, this, and this? Can you help me with this?" And I'm just like, "Sure." I literally said, "Yeah, let's do it." Like awesome. So we got on a phone call just like this, like we're having right now, and it was so funny because I was just like, well, this is what I do. I'm going to tell you what I do and try it for yourself. And let me know how it works. So
Mhm.
what I thought, and like, this is something for like your audience as well, is like your common sense is actually
Mhm.
your inner genius,
Mhm.
right? Like your common sense, what you think comes naturally to you, that's actually your inner genius. So at that moment, I didn't really realize that. I'm just like, hey, like this is natural for me. Like this is like I do what I do every day. Yeah, like I don't know, right? So I told them, and then 2 3 days later, he comes like, Jonathan, I just booked 4 calls,
Yeah.
and then 2 days after that, Jonathan, I just sold 2 clients at $1,500 plus a 10% commission fee, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
wait a minute, you just made 3 grand in 2 days?
Yeah.
And he's like, a week after that, he come, Jonathan, I had to, put in my 2 weeks on my job because like I'm going full time in my business from what you told me to do. And I'm just like, that moment right there felt so good. Like
Mhm.
it was one thing for me to get clients and do my thing, but it was another thing. I was able to help somebody else and affect their family and the way they live at a completely different level. And I'm just like, wow, that is amazing. Like that feeling, I was like, I want more. And that's when me and my girl talked, and I'm just like, no, that's what we gotta do. That is our calling, right? So we got excited, we got fired up. We're like, okay, what do we do now? What's the next step? So we're just like, okay, well, we come from marketing, so we can probably teach marketing. And so we started like taking obviously clients. But one of the things that I saw in the market is just like a lot of coaches were just charging per hour. And I
Mhm.
was like, it didn't make sense for me whatsoever. I'm just like, why like $100 per hour, like $75 per hour? Like it's just like I don't get it. Like they're not paying you for that, they're paying you for the result, right? So I'm just like, that's where I'm gonna go into. Like I had to tell them that, hey, like you're doing your client a disservice by not charging higher ticket for two
Mhm.
reasons. One, when you charge lower ticket, people don't pay as much attention to you. It's just like I do it all the time. I buy courses all the time for $100,000, and some of them I never even finish. Like I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure you do the same thing, right, Robin? You buy something for like $500, $200, you never even touch it. But if you spend $2,000 to $3,000 on it, you're just like, wait a minute, like I actually spent some money into this. Like I'm gonna pay attention and I'm gonna make it happen because now like it costs a little bit more, like it hurts a little bit. It's just like, oh man, like I need to do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and pay more attention, right? That is the biggest reason. And the second reason is just like how many clients do you actually need to make $10,000 $20,000 per month if you're charging 3K?
Mhm.
Three clients and you're making 12K a month, and a lot of people can live off that. So that's kind of like why I'm just like high ticket is probably the way to go and not the way other way around.
Yeah. And your story reflects or is so similar to so many coaches um, that I work with that also they had this natural inclination to work out or eat better. And suddenly people come, hey, can you tell me about this? And they thought, that's so easy for me. I can never charge for this. And in reality, this is actually the most valuable part. So, Jonathan, if we zoom out from a high level perspective, what are your top tips for creating a high ticket coaching offer?
Number one, from a high level, like super, super high level, understand what I said earlier. People are paying you for the result, right? Number two is people, you can charge more based on the experience
Mhm.
that you take your client through. That is such a big factor people don't understand. It's just like the closer, and I'm going to talk about this concept in just 1 second. But the closer that they get to you, the higher ticket you got to charge because the experience elevates. And that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of people don't understand, but they need to understand. It's like the closer that they get to you, the higher you must charge because that experience now they have more of your attention. Like if they're buying just a video that you created like a year ago, that could be low ticket. But if you're talking to them one on one, or maybe you're doing this even in person, like I know a lot of personal trainers are doing this in person. That
Mhm.
experience of you doing it and spending that time with that person, that is extremely valuable to them and to you. You have to respect your time, but you have to understand as well. It's like, hey, they're working with me because they want this result. How much is that result worth to them?
Yeah.
And base your offer around that.
Well, I'm super curious to hear how you actually approach this. But first, Can you give us a little bit of an idea of what are some of the results that people that have worked with you actually had? So you mentioned, okay, $3,000 in 2 days. Can you tell us a little bit more about what is possible when people actually take action with this?
Guys, like when I'm telling you, like if you're right now you're not full time in your business, it's most likely because you're not charging higher ticket. Like honestly, because in two, like if you the hardest part for a lot of people is having the audience. But I know I talk to a lot of people on a day to day basis that have the audience but are not able to monetize the audience. And there's a saying, right, that it's just like, hey, if you're not making a full time income, if you have more money, if you have more followers than money in your bank account, you're doing something wrong, right? Like you're doing completely something wrong. So at that point, you have to understand it's like it's possible. Like most of our clients come into the program 3 weeks later, they're already clocking out $5,000 weeks. Why? Because how many clients again do you need to hit 5,000 if you're charging 2,500? Two,
Yeah.
not a lot, right? Not a lot. So if you want to make a full time income, the easiest route is to go the higher ticket. And I'm gonna tell you like this reason. Like if you're charging $100 per hour, to make $10,000 per month, how many clients or how many hours do you have to work? A lot. You have to work a lot of hours to make $10,000 per month. But if you're charging for a program, for the result, for the end goal, you don't need a lot of clients in order to get that. So getting 4 clients in a month at $2,500 is the bare minimum, especially if you follow Robin and he tells you how to use Instagram to do it. It's just like, honestly, you have the tools right there. You really do. Because the hardest part is what Robin's talking about. That's probably the hardest part. Getting the audience and building the audience is usually the hardest part for everybody, right? From at least for most of our clients, the hardest part is getting the audience because we understand it's just like, okay, we're going to grab your knowledge, package it, create an offer, eliminate all your objections, right? In that package, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what that formula is, so you guys can implement it in your business as well. But that's the easiest part. Right now, you have that. It's proven. You sold it to a few people. Now it's time to build your audience, which Robin teaches you, right? So it is 100% doable. It's 100% possible. Most of our clients do it, in 90 days. We have a program. We have one offer that's like a 90-day program where they come in. Most of our clients come in with an idea. They come in with an idea, but they have no idea how to like make that into a business. They have no idea how to package the offer or who do they help, right? That's kind of where we focus on. And at the end of 90 days, they're usually clocking out clients left and right for their business. So 100%.
Ooh, I love this because it's such an important shift and business model, especially for coaches who, like many of my followers, have learned from Precision Nutrition that teaches so close one-on-one coaching. But before we dive deeper, we talked about high ticket around the price, but how do you define a high ticket coaching program apart from it costs more?
So what do you mean? How do you like according to
What's the difference between a low ticket and a high ticket program? So the one is the price. One difference is the price, but what other differences have a high ticket and a low ticket program?
it's the experience. It's the experience that you're taking your clients through, right? The lower ticket, you don't have that one-on-one attention. You don't have that experience, that accountability, because that is so big. For if you have a coaching program, right, and you have actually a program not charging per hour, you're in charge of your ideal clients getting results. So you have to be there to give them accountability for them to go ahead and take action. Because a lot of the times, like we can go ahead and find all of our information online, right? We can literally find everything that we need to know online. So why are they even coming to you as a coach in the first place? Because one thing, they want to be accountable, and they honestly, it's harder to them to do it on themselves because they want to listen to somebody tell them, hey, this is what you need to do, even though they know most of the time what they have to do already. Like they most likely know what they have to do. They just need somebody there to be accountable, to keep them accountable, to make sure they're taking those daily actions in order so they can go ahead and be successful in their fitness journey or in the health journey, you know. So
Yeah.
that to me is the biggest difference.
Yeah, I love this. And one of the problems that I see with many people that are following me is, yeah, okay, high ticket, I understand, it's a good concept, but can you give us some examples or niches where weight loss coaches, nutrition coaches, personal trainers can actually find high ticket niches, or how can a high ticket program actually look like for them?
Of course, 100%. So I'm gonna go give you an example of one of our clients. We have like a few fitness clients as well. She's a binge eating coach, actually, right? So the first thing that we got clear is on, okay, who does she actually help, right? Who does she actually help? Because if you don't know who you help and what you help them do, or how you help your clients achieve that result, like those three questions are very foundational, and you need to understand those three things. Like you need to have a very specific who, like I said, women who are new moms. The more specific you get, the better. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of different fitness coaches, a lot of different health coaches that target the same people. So if you can be very specific on who that person is, you automatically going to be standing out of the masses. And that's super important already, because now you're becoming a personal authority in that certain niche, because the niche is so small, right? Now, the second thing is the what. Like, what result do you actually provide that person? If you understand that, you're going to be automatically like top, because you understand them. Hey, not only do I help them lose 20 pounds, but why do they want to lose 20 pounds? What is that end result of them actually losing 20 pounds? Because, yeah, people don't want to just lose 20 pounds because they want to lose 20 pounds, but they have an ultimate motive. It's like, oh, they want to be fitter for their family. It's maybe they're pre-diabetic at some point, and you actually help them and get through that, right? So at that point, you have to understand that you have to understand the bigger motives and why they actually want to achieve their goal. With us, it's mostly about money, right? Most of our clients, hey, we want more money, but why do they want more money? At the end of the day, like, you don't want $1 billion. You want what $1 billion gets you. That's what you really want, right? So it's understanding that at a deeper level. So you need to understand who your ideal client is, what result they actually desire and want. And number three is what most people skip, is the how, right? At how. You need to have a step-by-step process. You need to have a step-by-step process that you take your clients through, right? And that becomes your framework, right? I always say that your ideal clients are at point A and they want to get to point B. You need to build the bridge. Like, your bridge is the program, right? And your framework is the car that helps them get across. But at the end of the day, they buy the results, but you build them the bridge to get to that result, and then you give them the keys to the car so they can drive to the end result. That is the key right there. Those three things are probably one of the biggest, most important things. Before you even touch about creating an offer, if you get clear on those three things, everything else becomes easier, because now you know, okay, how much is actually value? Like, how much is getting 20 pounds, losing 20 pounds so they can not be pre-diabetic be worth? That, to me, that's worth a lot of money. That's my health that I'm talking about, right? Like, I also come from a personal training background. Like, I don't know if you know that, but like, I was actually a personal training director at LA Fitness for 2 years before I actually jumped online. So like, I understand, and I'm really passionate about fitness as well. So like that, those three things, like, if your audience can figure that out in their business, who, what, and how, and give their name, give their framework, their how, a name, automatically they stand out from every other fitness coach that says, I help mom lose weight. No, I help mom lose weight with so and so method, or I help mom lose weight with so and so framework, right? Automatically, people are going to be like, wait, I never heard of that before. What is that? So it gets people to ask questions.
I love this. So let's imagine for a second. There's a coach watching us right now, and she has a certification and she has an idea. Maybe she also wants to work with binge eating women, but she doesn't fully grasp the concept of the framework yet. Do you have some kind of exercises that you do to help them actually make this framework or create these steps?
Of course, if you want, I can share my screen and draw something out real quick.
Yeah, sure. Give me
Yeah, I
one
think
second.
that'll be helpful for the audience. Awesome. So in terms, I'm going to redraw this little image that I've had that I told you guys about, the who, what, how, and the bridge and the car, because this is very important, right? So ideally, we have to understand that your ideal client is right here, right? They're at point A. They're at point A, and they want to go ahead and get to point B. Your job as the coach is to help them get here. This is where they want to go. That is your job as the coach. right? But you want to go ahead and build a bridge, like I said, right? Build a
Mhm.
bridge that helps them get there. And this becomes the program, right? This becomes the program. And I'm going to tell you why this is important in just 1 second. Because your ideal client is here. First, you need to understand who they are. You need to understand who they are, what their pain points are, what their challenges are, what their desires are, and what the excuses. This is very important. What the excuses they're telling themselves.
Mhm.
That's what you need to know that. But like the back of your hand, and I'm gonna tell you why in just 1 second. But this is your who, this is your result, and your program is the how. Your framework, like I said, is the car. I'm terrible at driving cars, uh, drawing cars, so I'll do my best. All right. This is the call, right? So you're as the coach is here and says, "Hey, look at this awesome new thing. Like this is not about cutting calories. This is not about doing this. This is
Yeah.
intermediate fasting. That's what's going to go ahead and help you get there. That is your
Mhm.
new vehicle, right? Right. That is your new vehicle that you're providing to your who. So at the same time, they have tried all of these yo-yo dieting. They have tried all of this stuff. They tried this. They tried that. None of it works. So you talk against all of that, right? You talk against, hey, yo-yo dietings are terrible. Counting calories are terrible. This is terrible. This is not good. And then you tell them this is the best way to do it, and it's actually intermediate fasting. Let me tell you why, right? And then in your content, you start talking about, hey, this is why this is so good, right? So now when they come into your program, your framework becomes your car. Your
Mhm.
car becomes the framework, right? This is the framework of your program. So the question is, okay, how do we actually create this framework, right? That is the question. Well, the answer is quite simple. Again, if your client wants to get from point A to point B, what you want to go ahead and do is in your mind, or actually do this exercise, write down the 5 to 7 steps that someone needs to take in order to lose 20 pounds,
Yeah.
right? If their goal is to lose 20 pounds, what is the first step that they need to do? What is the second step? What is the third step? What is the fourth step? What is the fifth step, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 step that they got to do? I usually like to keep the steps, the framework between 5 to 8 steps, because
Mhm.
that's where I found that is not too long. Because if you program is like a year long or 2 years
Mhm.
long, then it becomes less valuable. But if you can go ahead and keep it between 5 to 8 steps, that becomes the modules of the program or whatever you're teaching, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the way I see it is just like I'm gonna draw it in a different way. Like let's say they want to go here, right? This step becomes the first thing. They're right here. They have to conquer, for example, maybe they have to conquer can you see it? Okay. They have to conquer their mindset. That is the maybe that's the first step. They have to conquer their mindset. What is the
Mhm.
next step? Oh well, they have to start being in a calorie deficit. That's the second step. What's the third step? They have to start doing strength training. Okay, what
Mhm.
is the fourth step? They have to do cardio after the workout. I don't know. Your audience knows their audience more than I do, right? And what is the fifth step? Well, they have to maintain a certain level of whatever, right? Those are milestones that your client has to achieve in order
Yeah.
for them to get to their desired situation, in order to get to the desired result. So your job as the coach is to be like, okay, well, these are the 7 steps that my client needs to take. Now, in each step, it goes in deeper, right? Because okay, how can they actually become a better, have a better mindset? Well, the first thing that they have to do is overcome limiting beliefs. Well, the next thing that they have to do is do this. Well, the next thing that they have to do is overcome, maybe analyze when they're about to binge eat. Or the
Mhm.
last thing that they have to do is okay, realize why they're binge eating in the first place. Like what's causing it? What are those triggers? Right? Maybe that's the first thing that you got to work on with your client. Now you move on to the next thing. So you see, for example, if this is the big module, this right here becomes the videos or the lessons that you have to teach your client in order to achieve that big milestone. And then you move on to number two, which is okay, how can they achieve step number two? And then you start writing down every single step, right? You start writing down every single step that they have to do in order to achieve step number two. And then you do this with every single milestone that they have to achieve in order to get to their end goal.
Ooh, I absolutely love how practical you keep this, and I can already imagine, like, if you're a completely new coach, that you essentially actually grab your certification material or some good book, and you just look at the chapters, for example, of how another book may have structured it. You mentioned already something like videos or lessons. What do you recommend should coaches include in a high ticket coaching package?
So there's a few things that if you're just a first starting out, I honestly don't recommend you spend a whole bunch of time, recording lessons, recording a whole video, because we have no idea if your audience actually wants it or if they want to sell it. I made that mistake when I first got started. I think it was like 4 years ago. I decided I wanted to do a course about how to start a marketing agency, because I was like, hey, I know how to start marketing. So I recorded a whole bunch of things, and guess what? Nobody wanted it. It didn't sell whatsoever. And I spent 6 months recording videos and doing all that stuff, and it literally blocked, right? But the biggest mistake that I learned from that is that, okay, well, I didn't even ask my audience if they wanted this, right? So if you're a new coach, I would recommend you. Obviously, you're probably creating videos and stuff like that, and you're thinking about creating a coaching program. Ask your audience what is it that they're struggling with and what they actually want, right? And then the next step is take some beta programs, some beta students. And I recommend you to charge for the beta students, because obviously it's going to be your time. I don't recommend you probably to do it for free, because if you do it for free, people are not going to take you serious, most likely. It happened to us, talking out of experience. So I'll probably recommend it at a discounted price, right? And just jump in with them on a one-to-one basis so you can learn the material as you're teaching it, right? You're learning, and you're going to see that some clients have these objections, or some clients have these excuses, or some clients have these problems. So you start learning how to overcome those problems for your clients. And then when someone else has the same problem that they had, you know how to fix that problem right away. And then at that very moment, that's when you want to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to start including videos in my program so I can increase the value of it. At the end of the day, remember, your clients are paying you for the result. So it doesn't matter if it's through videos, or through a one-on-one call. If it's through a one-on-one call, doesn't matter. It's good. Record the calls and then use that. Start creating those vault of calls as material that you can get away to your other clients as well.
Ooh. The thing with that I love about our conversation is you're keeping answering my next question. And one of the key things that you mentioned here is something that I learned from a good friend, Nicole Kramer. And she always says it's much more difficult to sell the program than to create the program. So that's exactly what you said. Try to understand who wants to actually buy it. And once you have people who want to buy what you offer, then you can create the course or the program, or you get actually paid to create it. And I'm curious now, how would you start actually writing the offer? So we have done our analysis, we have reached out in our stories. What is your biggest problem? What is your number one result? We have structured our program. How would you then actually write the offer to tell people, here, this is what I offer?
Got it. Awesome. So I think you guys are going to absolutely love this. Every offer that I create, I go through this program. I go through this exact process, and it's called offer stacking. Are you familiar with offer stacking?
A little bit, but
Love it.
tell us more.
Okay, awesome. So offer stacking is when you stack the what you actually are providing to your client, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, they buy the results. So you can tell them, hey, I help clients lose 20 pounds, right? Let's say you lose 20 pounds. That's the end goal, right? The next question I always ask is, okay, what and how long can I lose those 20 pounds? Like in time frame, they say, okay, I'll help clients lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks. So now this offer is starting to form. Now I help people who ideally, I help new moms. I'll be specific. I will help new moms lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks, right? How do I do it? Through my unique framework. And my unique framework has a name, right? Weight loss for women. I don't know. Give it a name. At this point, we created the framework right here, right? This is the framework, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. I actually will write this down in my program deliverables and say, hey, the goal of this program, right? This is how I write my offers. The goal of this program is this. And then I have, who is this for? Who is this for? And then I talk about the program deliverables. right? The program deliverables is simply your offer stack, right?
Mhm.
So your next 5 things is, okay, well, the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is this. And what is that? Well, this is this part right here. The second thing you're going to do is this. The third thing we're going to do is this. The fourth thing we're going to do is this. The fifth thing we're going to do is this, right? And then you go on to, like, let's say you have 7 steps. So you go through the whole steps with that person. Now, this is where things actually start to get interesting. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see the big screen, right? This is what starts to get interesting, because now that you wrote that, the next thing is like people are going to have objections to your offer. And I'll call these excuses.
Mhm.
They're going to have excuses. So what's going to be an excuse that somebody wants to lose 20 pounds? Oh, let's see. It could be, oh, it's so hard for me to meal prep. Let's say you're doing meal prepper. It's so hard. It's so hard for me to meal prep because my husband or my wife doesn't want to eat that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh man. So guess what? Hey, don't worry. I created this free guide that tells you exactly how you can meal prep, even if you're and cook for your husband at the same time. Boom. Objection. Guess what? Gone. What's the next step? Oh, I don't have time to meal prep. Don't worry. I actually created a list and I'm going to send it to you on a bi-weekly basis. And all you have to do is literally grab the list and just order it online. All you have to do is put your card information and you can completely order it. And all you have to do is go pick it up at a Publix or a Walmart or whatever store they have, right? Now, guess what? Now they don't need time. They don't have the husband excuse. What's next? Oh, I travel a lot. I know that's a big one for the fitness industry. I travel a lot. Don't worry. I created this free guide that talks about how you can eat healthy while traveling. Boom, objection gone. So this is why it's so important to understand and know all of your clients' excuses that they're telling you, right? This is very important. You need to understand and know your clients' excuses. So then you turn those excuses into solutions, right? You turn this excuse into solutions. So now, in my program deliverables, before those excuses even come up, I say, oh, and I have these bonuses.
Mhm.
I have these bonuses. Oh, the first bonus is how to go ahead and blah, 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 blah. Excuse number 1, gone. The second bonus is this. The third bonus is this. The fourth bonus is this, right? Oh, and I just start stacking up that value and eliminating excuses as we're getting to the offer, right? So this is how you start becoming and creating like an irresistible offer, because at the end, you're like, oh, wow, like I have no excuses. Every excuse that I thought about is now a solution.
Ooh. I absolutely love this, but there is, from creating the offer to actually consistently making 5-figure months, there are a couple more steps, and you have a really cool offer for us on how to bridge this gap from the offer to actually consistently making 5-figure months.
Do I have you cut up for a minute? What did you say? It cut up at my end.
I just wanted to know, between creating the offer, what you talked us through today, to actually consistently making 5-figure months, there are probably some more steps. And I know you have a new offer that you want to share with us.
Yes. So in terms of going from, okay, we have the high ticket offer, right, and now we had to obviously sell it, and we had to go ahead and go through it. The first thing that we always want to talk about is understand your funnel. Understand the way, not necessarily like a sales funnel, but understand the way your sales process is built. And that's very important, right? That's very important to understand the way the sales process is built and what actually brings somebody in the sales funnel and what happens next. How can you get them to raise their hand to move on to the next offer, right? And when they get to the offer part, you want to go ahead and like be able to get them to actually buy your program. You need to understand that process. But now, we actually created a free masterclass, right? We actually created a free masterclass that goes over all of this, right? It goes over, creating a high ticket offer at a deeper level. It goes over what happens after the social sales system that we like to call the social sales system. Because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we ran a marketing agency and we ran paid ads for, different companies, and we spend, $50,000 a month on paid ads. As a new coach, don't run paid ads. You need to do this organically, validate those offers, and be able to get clients. But it's very simple. Again, if you have 4 clients paying you $2,500, right? You need that's already 10K, right? That's already 10K, and you made you money. You made 10K months. It's really not that difficult, especially if you have the audience. So the social sales system that we talk about in the masterclass, my partner Jamerly, she is the IG person, the social media person. She actually created like a whole video in the masterclass going over the social sales system on how they can go from point A to point Z. And it's completely free. There's not even opt-in either, because we believe in just demonstrating that we can help people by actually helping them ahead of time. That is kind of my motto.
Yeah, and I checked it out. It's super thorough. So for everyone who's watching, I will add the link to the free training in the description and also in the comments. No sign up, much more value on actually how to move from creating the offer all the way to consistently making 5-figure months. Jonathan, thank you so much for being with us today, and for everyone who's still watching, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me.